Welcome to the Candid Cara Podcast, a space where we explore mental health, healing, growth, and everything in between, from the power of emotions and music to life's big lessons and the stories we tell ourselves. I'm your host, Cara, and today I'm so excited to share this conversation with Hannah Bowers, a singer, songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist, artist coach, and founder of the PAL community. Hannah has been an independent musician for about 15 years, and in that time she's built not only an incredible catalog of music, but a mission-driven career rooted in authenticity, spirituality, and empowerment. In this episode, we talk about everything from Hannah's first song in 2003 to what it was like studying music at USC and moving to LA at 18. We also talk about the experience of creating her double album Radio/The Woods that came out last year, where she crowdfunded $20,000 in 30 days to support this work. Hannah also opens up about the parallels between queerness and creativity, the roles of mentors and community in her journey, and how she helps other artists define success on their own terms, and how that in turn inspires her to be a better artist. There's so much wisdom here, whether you're a musician, a creative, or just someone trying to live life more authentically. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed having it.
Hi, I'm Hannah Bowers, and I am a singer-songwriter, life coach, and community leader. Boom.
Woo! You do a lot. You wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by everything that you do, and it's a huge inspiration to me and so many others. And you've been an independent musician, I know, for a long time, and I want to say 15 years.
Yeah. 15 sounds right.
Wow. So how old were you when you started singing and songwriting?
I started writing songs as soon as I could speak, but like the first song that is like documented, written down, is called Cool Song, that I wrote in 2003, and I wrote it on the piano.
Wow.
My piano teacher helped me notate it. So that's the first like documented song. And then the first documented song with lyrics was when I was 10, about a boy that I liked that like broke up with me.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So cool. I didn't know that you played piano. I was curious.
Yeah. That's actually how I got started. It's interesting because I've been playing piano longer, and in a lot of ways I feel like I'm better at piano than guitar. But I've been playing piano since I was 7, and I took lessons every week for 11 years, basically. Wow. And my piano teacher is amazing, and she's been a great mentor and like a huge part of the reason why I am the artist and musician that I am today. But then guitar is just, as an artist, the instrument that I vibe with more. And I have never been able to write songs on piano in the same way that I've been able to write songs on guitar.
Wow, that's so cool. And it's striking a parallel because I've talked to other artists about this too. And as you know, I play piano, and I remember when I was young and I really wanted to write a song and I couldn't do it on the piano because it was sounding too classical. I'm like, this must happen to a lot of people and we don't even realize it, because I've never even seen you play piano.
Yeah.
But now I want to.
It's very special. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you say that thing about the classical, because I resisted playing piano for a really long time. And my teacher was trying to teach me through the classical lens, and I'm playing like Beethoven and sonatas and stuff. And I was really putting up a fit. I was like, I do not want to do this. And her and my mom got together and they were like, okay, what should we do? Because we really want her to keep playing piano, but she's like really hating this. And they bought me a big piano book that was like the best pop songs of 2002 on piano. And as you can imagine, it's so good. And then I'm like playing Sheryl Crow and like Vanessa Carlton on piano. And that's when I kind of fell back in love with it.
That's amazing. This feels like a good moment to ask you about influences. Who inspired you? I know of a couple artists that I also am very inspired by, and I'm sure in large part what connected me to you.
I see her on your wall.
Yes. Avril Lavigne, Alanis Morissette.
Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pink was a really big one as a artist influence. Like I think I was passively influenced by a lot of music that I listened to because, and like speaking of your shirt, my parents both worked in radio. So my mom did the morning show at a soft rock station while I was growing up. So naturally my songs sound a lot like the kind of music that she was playing on the soft rock station. My songs sound like they are between the years 1997 and 2003, kind of exclusively within that window. So, passively, any artist that was on that station during that time really, really inspired me. And then I remember when I was a little bit older and stepping into the artist part of me, I would say that was Pink, Hannah Montana, which is kind of like guilty pleasure. I mean, she's amazing. Miley Cyrus is amazing, but like Hannah Montana is kind of cheesy.
I did not know that about you. Sorry to interrupt. I also
Yeah.
was influenced by Hannah Montana.
We're not surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
It was Pink, Hannah Montana, Alicia Keys, which people don't really like hear that up front, but when you listen to like the vocal layering and the harmonies that I do, you do hear this R&B vocal production influence from her. And then when I got a little bit older, Hayley Williams and Paramore. So those were the women that I really looked up to.
That's amazing. With Alicia Keys, even like the themes she tends to sing, I feel like you have that in common with her, like this groundedness and this appreciation for life.
Yeah, and I recommend her autobiography if you are into reading musician autobiographies. It's a really inspiring book. And her relationship to music, I relate to a lot. It's almost like this spiritual connection to the music.
Yeah.
She's not just an artist that the label found and assigned her writers. Like she is so original and it comes from the soul and so connected to her instrument. And that's the place that she creates from. She's got such a vision and she's an incredible producer, even though she's not known as being a producer. And I think I share those relationships to how I create my music. It's not just how it sounds, it's like the relationship to creating.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that. It's funny because I didn't know she was a producer at all, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually have read her memoir several years ago. This feels like a sign that I need to reread it because it would feel different now. So, how old were you when you moved to LA? This has been a big part of your artistic journey, leaving your home for the big city.
Yes, exactly. Literally pictured on your shirt, me like walking away from the woods to the big city. I was 18 when I did that, just kind of classic, like graduate high school, went to college. I went to college in LA for music. I thought LA was, if you want to be a musician, that is the place that you go. That's what I was always told. In some ways, that's right. In some ways, as I've learned now, clearly I've left LA. I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, I went at 18 to study music and I honestly had a really positive experience there for the last 12 years, but I ultimately decided that I am a woman of the woods and that is where I feel most comfortable creating. But yeah, I was a baby.
Wow.
When I left.
And I imagine you didn't know many people there.
No, I think I probably had some people that I went to high school with that were also going to the same school, but it was a complete start over for me. And I made a completely new set of friends, but I am a big extrovert and I absolutely love being dropped in a pool of strangers and like turning them all into friends. So I really thrived when I left. I think I needed to get out and see something different and be someplace that had more going on, more energy, more action, more variety, diversity, and just made a bunch of friends. I got my degree in music industry and songwriting, and I loved that at USC. And that was a really, really great experience. I met the most wonderful lifelong partnership mentors, friends, collaborators, people there. I'm really lucky to have had that experience. I got to like really nerd out about the music industry, which weirdly just fascinates me how it works and how it's always worked, how it's changing right now. Those are topics that I find really interesting. So I loved nerding out about that and then having amazing professors like hone my artistry. One of my songwriting teachers is the keyboard player for Pink, which is kind of a cool full circle moment for somebody that grew up admiring Pink.
I didn't even know that you went to school in LA or school for music. Oh, that is just so amazing.
I remember being a incoming freshman and looking at the course list. These are the classes that you're going to have to take over the next 4 years. I was just like, this is what I get to do every day. Because in high school, I was so over it. I was like, calculus, physics, yawn, don't make me do this. But then I got there and it was like music publishing, recording, engineering, mixing, mastering, music marketing, live music, music promotion, all of the things that I find really, really interesting.
Wow, that's so cool. One of my questions was, how did you get so good at songwriting? And I feel like from doing it your whole life and studying it and immersing yourself in it.
Yep. That's really it. Yeah. One, doing it my whole life. Like literally, I was born to do it. I just remember being a little kid and I would just like make up songs. Like it was just natural for me to like communicate and express myself that way. And then I studied it growing up because my parents are DJs, and going to school in the car every morning, my dad would like educate me on different artists and their backgrounds and the decades and the production and what makes this artist different from this artist. I actually have this kind of freaky talent of being able to tell what year a song is from. Ooh. Even if maybe I haven't heard it before. I studied so much these nuances of music production, tendencies and sounds and everything that I'm like, oh, that's 1983 for sure. It's not quite the mid 80s.
Impressive.
Thank you. My dad gave me that education. And then another thing that really helped is in college, in one of my songwriting classes, I had an amazing teacher named David Poe. He said, if you want to be a better songwriter, write a song first thing in the morning every single day before you do anything else. You can have a glass of water, but like no coffee, don't check your phone, don't open your laptop, don't even talk to anybody. Just wake up, water, write. And I did that every day for, I can't really tell you how long. I don't remember. That absolutely changed everything for me because I exercised the muscle so much. And now I write songs so quickly because the muscle knows how to do it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I kind of want to try that.
Do it. I highly recommend it to you, to any other songwriters listening. If your goal is to become a better songwriter, do it first thing every day. Because the second you have that coffee or you check your notifications or you are taken out of your internal world, your creative energy is split a little bit. But when you're waking up, you are just fully present in yourself. And that's the best place that you can create from.
That makes sense. And a lot easier said than done. You did say you were extroverted, but I'm curious, how did you feel about being seen and performing? Did you ever struggle with that?
I feel weird saying no because I don't want that to make me come off as cocky or anything.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
Wow. Because I've heard other people talk about that and I empathize because I understand that, but I think it must be something about growing up in the woods and like not necessarily disconnected from society, but just like more focused on doing whatever I wanted to do. I don't think about being perceived too much. And sometimes I do for fun. I'm like, whoa, people perceive me. I wonder what they think. But it is like very out of curiosity and never really around my art or music.
Wow. That's so beautiful. I guess I don't fully know, but I feel like that's a rarity in our
Yeah.
culture.
I wish
And
I could share that with other people. Go to the woods, get away from your phone. You'll stop thinking about being perceived. And then you'll build this muscle of just being yourself. And then that
yeah,
just becomes your default setting and you never have to think about it.
that is amazing. And I feel like you do share that though with people through your work,
Thank you.
through your leadership work with PAL and coaching, as well as just through your songs and through your words. Your spirit comes
Thank
out from
you.
all that.
I try that. I mean, I really feel like my purpose is to empower other artists through my own experience of being an artist. So I'm glad that you're picking up on that because that's exactly what I want. I think the world would be so much of a better place if we were just acting from this place of pure authenticity and not worrying at all about how that's perceived or how we might be judged or anything like that.
Yeah, that would make a completely different world for
Yeah.
the better, for sure.
Would love to see, but I'll just keep doing my best every day to bring that closer and closer to reality. We'll see what I'm capable of accomplishing before my time here is up.
I'm here for it. I'm a fan, if that wasn't clear.
Thank you, Cara.
I'm curious, do you play other instruments than the piano and the guitar?
A little bit. I play the bass. I love playing bass. I feel weird saying that I do that because I don't think I'm very good, but I've done 2 live performances where I'm playing bass in a band. And I've done the bass on a lot of my songs. And even when I hire a professional bassist to do something, I'm like, oh no, I kind of liked my version of that better. So yeah, I play the bass a little bit. I really like that instrument. I've gotten more and more into it over the past few years. And then I took a class in playing the drums for a semester in college.
Cool.
And I think I can do the most basic beat in the world. My girlfriend is a drummer, so she's very good at it. We have our drum set up in our living room, but yeah, not my strongest instrument. And then I'm also a really good whistler.
What does that mean? Like just whistling.
I would say that that's a strong instrument for me.
Wow. I've never really talked about that with anyone. Like that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Someone once told me my whistling is Alanis Morissette's harmonica.
Oh my gosh. I need to go listen to your music again and think about whistles. I'm sure I heard them, but I wasn't hearing them.
Yes, there's a few songs that they're prominent on, especially on my Nightmares and Daydreams album, which is currently not on Spotify. But you can still find it on like YouTube.
I don't think I have heard much from that album.
It was my first one. I made it in college.
Cool.
You might find it inspiring if you want to go back in time and like see where I started, my humble beginnings. There's a whole video series I did for it on YouTube where I am this very passionate, angsty, younger version of myself. So that might be interesting to see.
I definitely am going to check it out.
Going in the archives.
Amazing. I've seen, what's that song? This was from a while ago, Bad Behavior.
Mhm.
I liked
A
that
while
one.
ago. That was 2021. That was 4 years ago. That was my not one thing era.
Okay.
And that is when I was very determined to produce my own music. That song in particular has the most additional co-production from my friend Joe because he completely changed the vibe of the whole song. But yeah, that is my not one thing era, which is my album before Radio and the Woods. And another really fun part of my growth as an artist. Anytime I listen back to my music, it can be really easy to cringe at things that are amateurish or less professional, less quality, like whatever you want to call it. But I find it so endearing to just be like, that was the best that I could do at that time. And I didn't let any perfectionism stop me from putting that out. My catalog is so huge because I let it out no matter how good it is. And now two of them you can't find, but I think I've done like 6 albums in the 15 years.
Wow. That's so cool. I didn't know that. I was just listening to you on shuffle, and then I was focusing on your albums from last year. I was also stalking your YouTube, so I saw Nightmares and Daydreams.
Yes. I've always been interested in video stuff. That's why Radio in the Woods has a whole video project, and Nightmares and Daydreams had this whole video project. I love pairing music with visual in creative ways.
I love what I saw from your visuals. Radio/The Woods, that story with the short films. Before I saw that, I really loved the songs, but it was really cool to see the visualization of a start to finish story.
Yeah. Whole like movie feeling of it.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. All the angles. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just feeling, and there were all sorts of feelings, not just heartache. Sometimes it was just funny.
Yeah, it's the full spectrum of emotion. And I had the best film team on it, which is why it's so good. The best director, producer, DP, editor, sound, all of it. Like everyone was amazing. And so it is, I just feel so lucky and grateful. It's like so high quality. And my preferred method of experiencing the albums is watching all 18 videos in order on the playlist on YouTube, so you can experience the movie feeling of it and be taken through this story like linearly, with audio, with lyrics, with music, and with the visual and the acting of it. I made something that goes against the societal norm or expectation or ability to like sit still and consume something for that long. The way that I designed it is that in between the videos, the song is playing, but it has the lyrics on this photo background, and it's sort of supposed to resemble looking through liner notes. When I was a kid, it was so fun to just put on a CD and be in it and not do anything else but look through the little photo packet on the CD and read the lyrics. And it's so rare these days to consume music or media while not doing anything else for that long of time. It's like our brains are very uncomfortable with that level of presence these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would recommend to anyone who wants to hear your music to listen and watch, like you just said. I wanted to ask if the story is fully autobiographical.
It's fully, I mean, obviously it's exaggerated. Some of it's like metaphorical, but it is intended to capture the story of me being 18, moving to LA to pursue music, struggling to navigate the music industry and what it means to be an artist in this big city, and getting driven to this point of ego death, really, where I go to the woods. That part's symbolic, like more so me going back inside myself and connecting to what is true and authentic to me and back to my roots and all of that. There wasn't an actual experience necessarily that I had where I was like in LA and I was like, this sucks, I'm moving home. And I like went to the woods and made a home in the trees. You know what I mean? But there was a moment where I was like, I don't want to be an artist the way that I think the traditional music industry and LA culture suggests that I should be an artist. And I gave up on doing things that way. And I leaned back into my authentic and spiritual connection to music and surrounding myself with people that I genuinely loved and inspired me, and stopped doing things the LA way. So that's kind of what going to the woods is. It just so happens it kind of predicted my future, because after I released that album, I did move back to the woods. So it was written as a metaphor, but it also was a bit of a premonition.
That's so cool. Wow. Yeah, that is, I don't know if serendipitous is the right word here.
I think that fits. Serendipitous, magical.
I don't know where I would be if you hadn't done that. I think we're told you have to do things a certain way. And then you're like, oh gosh, okay, well, if I want to do this, I have to do that. But to be shown that there's another path and that there are options and that you can ground in your values and not sell out in ways that hurt your soul.
Yeah.
That's really empowering. And I feel like a lot of the artists that you've brought into PAL, your community, share that mentality, which is so cool that it's a growing movement.
Yeah, definitely. I want to expand that mindset or belief that there is another way to be an artist, and it's your way. It's the way that feels good. It's not the way that you're expected to or told to. That's what I tried, at least in my experience, did not work for me. It did not feel good to be like, well, get signed by a record label or play these kinds of shows and network with these people. I don't even really like those people. And when I go into these rooms and these spaces, I don't feel like I am appreciated for who I authentically am. I feel like I'm expected to be this best version of myself. And that's why I created my community PAL, because I wanted there to be a space for artists to feel safe showing up exactly as they are, whether it be just how they're feeling that day or where they are creatively, if they're still exploring, if it's a hobby or if it's a profession, or they feel like they're not very good at it yet, that is valid and awesome and okay. So a space to be wherever you are on the creative journey and have everybody else in that community be like, you are awesome for being there and good for you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it is so welcoming. And I feel like when you're not in the music world, the people that surround you are like, that's crazy. But when you are, the people that can surround you are, oh my God, you're not good enough to talk to me. And so it makes it very intimidating for newcomers. And I think many people at heart want to create and want to explore their artistic path. The fact that you've created PAL so intentionally and that it continues to evolve, I just think that's so powerful.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. And like I said, I really want this mission to expand and find the right people, because I think it's so healing to be encouraged by other people, to be seen for who you are and not judged. That was a big theme that we talked about. I threw this mental health event for the PAL community last week, and numerous people said it is so healing to be in this space where I can tell you guys what I've been struggling with, and you say, oh, I relate to that. I had a similar thing that people in my community didn't understand me for feeling that way. And artists have a unique way of feeling and being and seeing the world and expressing themselves. And to somebody that is less creative, it can be labeled as like crazy or sensitive. And artists understand that that's just being an artist and that's normal. And it's so healing to be validated by people that understand the unique experience of being you. Artists need each other to understand and relate to each other along this crazy, beautiful, wild, unpredictable path of being an artist, especially in a world that was not built for artists.
Right. Yeah, that was so well put. If you could say one thing to emerging artists, whether that's musically, emotionally, spiritually, the type of person that might be interested in joining PAL, what would you want to say to that person?
I would say that you are an artist It doesn't matter if you are an emerging artist or you're a curious artist or an established artist or professional artist, that you are an artist, that you're a completely valid artist, no matter what stage that you are in with that, no matter how good you are an artist. You're allowed to be an artist and claim that title. So own that and trust yourself and trust your gut to not need this external validation, not even need my validation of me telling you that you are an artist. Like deep down, you probably know that about yourself. So your biggest ally, tool, and resource in being an artist is yourself and your intuition. If you can prioritize establishing a connection with that and the skill of listening to yourself without judging yourself or shaming yourself, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself as an artist.
I think most artists / people struggle with self-acceptance at some point or another.
We all need to run away to the woods.
I think you're right. I think we do need separation from the nonstop dopamine rush and never having a pause from the headiness.
That's what kills the creative spirit and what kills the connection between your intuition. That is your greatest ally. That is going to make you the best artist and the best songwriter, going to make you create seamlessly. When we're filled with distractions and movement and noise and stimulation, that rips us away from ourselves. And it makes it very hard to be a person, and especially hard to be an artist.
Yeah. I'm curious how coaching other artists, how has that shaped your creative growth in ways you maybe expected or didn't expect?
That's a great question, Cara. I find it really inspiring every coaching session that I have with another artist to remember where they're at, and whether I'm conscious of it in the moment or maybe reflecting on it later, I think it heals a part of me that might relate to that as well. Even if I don't feel like I'm currently in that place now, it's healing to simply remind myself through coaching and telling other people, you are an artist. There is some younger version of myself within me that is like, thank you for saying that and for reminding me of that, even though I don't consciously struggle with accepting that in this moment. There's probably a part of me that still needs that constant healing and reminder. So coaching other people is just as healing for me as I hope it is for the person that I'm coaching. And I also find it inspiring and motivating to keep working on my own art and creativity. If I'm working with an artist on their release plan or something, I'm looking at their statistics and talking about their target audience and how are we going to cultivate your fan base and where are they and what do you sound like. It fires me up to be like, I want to go do that for myself now too, thank you. Yeah. So it's just inspiring and motivating and healing to talk to other artists about being an artist all the time.
Yeah, that's great. Ew. I feel like your brand, in a way, is just who you are, and it can look very curated from the outside because you've been on this journey a long time and you've done a lot of work, reflecting, pivoting, but it's not really curated, is it?
I guess it depends what you mean by curated. Do you mean my brand in terms of how I package and create the designs for like my merch and my music, or like my social media content, or like the whole dealio?
Not like the specific marketing. I was just thinking, what do I think of when I think of you as a musician and an artist? And I just wrote down some things like music, skateboarding, the ocean, nature, connection, leadership, embracing multifacetedness, living a grounded, values-based life. That's not like some character you created.
Right. Yes, exactly. So yeah, no, it's not curated, but it is self-aware and maybe intentional or connected. I guess I would lean into the word connected, not curated. It's not something that I have to put together outside myself, like a doll that I'm like dressing up or something. And I'm like, okay, that's who I'm going to be. I just connect to myself and I know how I feel and I know what I think and I know my perspective. And then I just share that like from that place. I don't think about like, does that reflect my leadership? Have I been posting enough pictures of the ocean lately? You know, I'm not thinking about those things. But when you are living authentically and you're connected to your authenticity, it's so much easier to express yourself and have that come across to people. But if you were to look at a list that I had of like, if I'm trying to reflect on what my brand is, I'm sure all of those words are written down, but that comes from a place of self-awareness instead of just like arbitrary curation of who do I want to be? It's just who am I and how do I put that in words?
That makes sense. And it kind of seems like obvious in a way, but I don't think it's so obvious because I think most artists maybe think of themselves as being authentic, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've reached the level of authenticity that maybe you've reached because it can be tricky. It can be like smoke and mirrors. You think you know who you are.
Absolutely. I mean, authenticity is a very tricky word to explain, and it's even a trickier concept to embody, I think. When I think of authenticity, I don't necessarily think of like executing the marketing, branding words on the page accurately, but there is this freedom when you are being yourself, and there's this confidence in that. And I think when some people say I'm being authentic, it means that they have subconsciously created this identity for themselves in their mind that they're comfortable being. But anybody who's been to therapy or done healing work knows about the shadow work and how integrated it has to be in order to be like actually authentic. So if you feel like you are being authentic, but you're afraid of being fully vulnerable, your authenticity is not fully embodied. That's like safe zone authenticity, if you can even call it authenticity at that point. You need to be fully embracing and accepting of all of the components of ourselves before we can actually embody authenticity.
Wow, that was really well put. And maybe hard to hear for some people who like to think of themselves as authentic, but then also know that they can't be vulnerable. I think authenticity is discouraged in our society, and that's a big part of why people are like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very scary to be fully ourselves. And I have a lot of empathy and compassion for everybody that struggles with that because I know what it feels like deep down for them to feel so unsafe. Like that must be so scary to feel that way. There are a lot of people in our society that it truly is unsafe to be fully themselves in certain places. You know what I mean? Even me as a woman or as a queer woman, I'm like, there are spaces that it's probably not safe for me to be my full authentic self. So people that struggle with being authentic have a lot of valid reasons for feeling that. And there is just a lot of societal, ancestral, generational trauma that is stored in ourselves from thousands of years of being told you're not good enough as you are. A lot of people struggle with this idea that like I'm like a sinner. We've been struggling with that narrative for thousands of years. There's a religious trauma that's deeply baked into who we are as artists. And there's a lot of valid reasons that people have for not showing up authentically, and it's not their fault for struggling with that. There's a lot of pain and trauma underneath that.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because that totally makes sense. I agree with you 100%. And at the root of it, it's this not feeling safe and not being safe often. But the way you articulated that was, I think, just helpful for someone to hear. It was helpful for me to hear. I wanted to ask how your queer identity has tied into your artistic identity.
That's a great question. I mean, I think a similarity between like queerness and creativity is this like non-duality. It's like literally this colorful experience. It's not black and white. It's not this or that. So being somebody that has this fluid experience of who I feel like I am and how I express myself in terms of like, let's say gender or the people that I find myself attracted to, there's so much fluidity in that. And that's the same thing as creativity. I don't follow any rules. I don't feel like I'm in this box of like this or that. I think that harms a lot of artists. I love playing with genre. I think I'm like multi-genre. Like my genre is non-dualistic. And I think that that's very helpful for being a musician, because some people might be like making a metal song or something, and then they want to put like a violin in it. And they're like, well, you can't have a violin in a metal song. Like metal songs don't have violin. But maybe that idea makes that song even cooler, you know, and it expands on what it can mean to be a metal song. And it's just like a really good song. So you don't need to put like labels on things as a queer person, and you don't need to put labels on things as a artist. So I think those things go hand in hand.
Wow, that's really cool. I hadn't thought of it like that way, like queerness and creativity being very parallel in that sense with, yeah, the fluidity. I was curious how old you were when you came out and how you stumbled into this big part of your identity, because you're so comfortable with yourself and you've been through so much, as anyone who listens to your songs would know. And I'm just curious how that was for you.
Yeah. I was very resistant to it for a long time. I was very in denial of it for a long time. I am a bisexual person, which is very confusing in a black and white world. I remember the first times that I was really, really faced with this question of like, do I really actually like girls? I was in 7th grade. And I remember my argument against that was, no, I definitely like boys. So I'm not gay.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
And I think 7th graders now are a little bit more woke, for lack of a better term, than I was then. I once had a teenager tell me, it was so sweet. I was like, well, I'm bisexual, but sometimes I wish I was a lesbian because I identify so much with lesbian culture and I feel like part of me is, even though I'm not. And this teenager was like, you can be both. And I was like, wow, really? It was so sweet. And they were like, yeah, who says? Like, who says you can't be bisexual and a lesbian? I was like,
that's amazing.
You are 16 years old and you just like healed something in me. Technicalities, labels, I don't like them. But anyway, I was very resistant for a really long time until I had a very healing experience with my first girlfriend. And once there was like a cool, pretty girl that very confidently admitted that she had feelings for me, I was like, okay, I'm definitely gay and it's okay. I can be gay because you say it's okay. So that's great. Yeah, it was a really positive experience because of her, and my parents were very accepting, and I told my closest friends, and that's all I needed to do. I was very scared to come out to my parents. I don't know, coming out is like this big dramatic thing, and I know a lot of queer people feel this way. It's like, I hate that I have to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate that it's like I'm straight until proven gay. Mm-hmm. So I hate that I have to come out at all, but I think it was still a positive experience for me. And there's a song that I wrote recently where there's a verse about my positive experience coming out and how I'm really grateful for that. And the girlfriend that helped me do that so confidently.
That's amazing. Is that song out?
Heavens, no.
Okay.
No, I wrote it a couple of months ago and it's sitting in my list of demos of songs that I want to complete.
Cool. I also wanted to ask, you have an amazing partner who I am lucky to meet a little bit, well, virtually.
Yeah.
How has it impacted your artistic identity and journey being with another musician? Yeah, how has that been for you?
It's interesting because she is the first musician, well, first professional musician. Like, I think I dated some girls that sang, you know, but she's the first musician that I've dated. And that's how we got together, jamming. And that was a huge part of our connection, whether I was aware of it at the time or not, how seamlessly we bounced back off of each other when we were jamming. And she has a completely different experience from being a musician than I do, because she has more of like the record label touring classic music industry experience. And then I am so DIY independent. So we complement each other in that way too, with the different experiences and perspectives we have on that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And she's very supportive of my music. She's always very encouraging of me and reminding me, you're so good. She was a big reason that I put out Radio in the Woods at all. A couple of years ago, I was like, I don't know what to do next as an artist. I feel very lost and I don't know how to grow. And she was like, well, you're really good. And I feel like you need to just work with other people that are just as good as you or better than you, actually. And that will help you grow. And that inspired me to reach out to this producer, Cal Barter, who is really talented and legit and awesome. He is that next level that pulled me up into my potential. He is the producer of the song Ordinary on The Woods. Everything else is produced by me and Katie, my partner, and our friends Jake and Joe. We had this whole team that they're also amazing peers that lift me to my potential. But I actually started this whole project from working on one song with this guy, Cal. So it's kind of an interesting way to get started. I worked on this song with him and I felt so pushed to be my best self. He is one of the only producers that I had worked with that I felt like relied on me to have all of the answers. A lot of producers, and it's no fault of theirs, are just a little bit more collaborative. And they're like, what about this? And like sharing all these ideas. He did not do that. He was like, what's your vision? What do we do next? You decide. Like, what's the guitar part? And he's known for working with these amazing guitarists like Kurt Vile and Courtney Barnett.
Wow.
They're amazing guitar players. And he's asking me, what do you do for the lead? And I was like, I'm not Kurt Vile. Like, I don't know what to do for the lead. But because he forced me to be, not forced me, it makes it sound really aggressive. He was like so gentle and kind. But he allowed me and encouraged me to take ownership of my own music. I think that's part of why that song is so good and so authentic and was the inspiration for the rest of the songs on The Woods. I had already done all the songs on Radio, but Ordinary is what sparked the rest of The Woods and what we used as a guide, the rest of the production team in making that. Ordinary is, in its production, simple, organic, but powerful and authentic. How can we cultivate that in all of these other songs and not try so hard and just have a beautiful musical experience and do less, let the song speak for itself?
That's so cool that it all stemmed from Ordinary because what you
Yeah.
just described, I know I'm not like some expert in music, obviously, but
You
that
are an artist, Cara.
true, I am an artist. But that was my experience where the vibe, the energy that you had on Ordinary totally does translate into the other songs. The Woods specifically, the album is so cohesive. Every song is very intentional. It's like upbeat and it makes me want to dance when I'm listening to these songs, but it's also very healing and very grounding.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you had that experience of it. And yeah, we tried very hard. It is an incredibly intentional album. Like I have never put that level of intention into anything that I have created. And we were not perfectionisty about it, but just had the highest standards. And because we recorded, except for Ordinary, the rest of that album in the same room over a 3-week span. Some of the stuff was added later, but the foundation of the album and the vision was established in this really concentrated period of time. And I think you can hear that shared vibe across all of the songs.
Totally. Yeah. That's how an album I feel like is ideally made, right? Like it's all recorded at once.
That was what I wanted for that experience. I quote unquote wanted to do it the right way. I don't think there is necessarily a right way, but that's what I wanted as an artist, was to be in the same room as everybody who was creating it and to have the magic come from that shared musical connection.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really great that you found Katie and that she was so supportive. But I also was kind of surprised to hear you say that you had to be told by someone very close that type of advice, like, you're good. You need to like accept that and go reach for the stars. I'm surprised that you need that encouragement because at the point I met you, like, you're the encourager, but that makes sense.
It's not even like I'm done. You know what I mean? Like I still have so much growing to do, and I still need to keep surrounding myself about the rest of my life with people that encourage me to be my best, because they see that in me. They see that potential in me, whether I'm expressing it, living in alignment with it or not. People that see that you are not just the decisions that you are making now, but that there is some core essence of yourself underneath all of that, that they love you so much that they want you to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel very similarly, except I still very much oscillate between my higher self and my lower self. So I get that. And I wish that that was the norm in our society to accept people.
Brings me back to the beautiful wisdom of namaste. The highest in me recognizes the highest in you. So that even when people throughout your day are giving you headaches and judging you, making you feel less about yourself, that if you can give it the old namaste, you can rise above it. But it's really hard to do. I feel like we live in the society where a lot of us are just operating in the survival mode, like trauma response state. And you need to be in a regulated state in order to recognize the highest in somebody else. Otherwise, it's going to be like victim, attack, always that dynamic.
I wanted to ask you specifically what your best practices are for mental health. I think you sharing that would help other people to hear.
Oh, great. Yes. Love mental health. I'll give you like my 4 biggest ones, starting with the easiest one. And this is probably where I started on my healing journey, just talking to other people that make you feel safe and that understand you. Just being able to have somebody, they don't have the answers. They don't need to give you answers, but you just need to be like seen and heard and held by somebody that truly loves you. That's the best thing that you can do for your mental health. Don't keep it to yourself. The second one I would say is yoga or any sort of like somatic work, like working with the body, even if it's just like self massage, is huge. So much of our feelings and our stress and our trauma is contained in our body. And if we can work through it physically, that helps so much because emotions and thoughts are so intangible that they can be hard to work with. And if you have like a lot of anxiety, for example, like you can't think your way out of it. Like the thinking is what's keeping you there, you know?
I do know.
Yeah, you get it. But if you come to the body and you just focus on like, what am I feeling? That's the second best tool. And then the third thing I would say is journaling. If you're somebody that thinks a lot or has a lot of feelings, in addition to talking about it with your friends, have a place where you feel safe, at least with yourself, to let it out. It's something that I used to do every day, and I don't need to do it every day anymore. But there was a phase I really needed to do it every day. I needed to do it constantly. It was just like, there's lifetimes of stuff up here that I need to get out. So write. It can even be a song,
Yeah.
Writing as a form of healing. And then the last thing is meditation, or if you feel like you're one of those people that like can't meditate, being in a distraction free environment where you're just breathing and not really doing anything else. You're not on your phone, you're not on your laptop, just having a space where you're not stimulated to let all of your thoughts and feelings exist and dissipate, because that's a big part of what causes us distress. We don't ever give ourselves space to feel our feelings or to let our thoughts exist. So they get louder and louder and louder to force us to listen to them. But it can be hard to listen to them when they're painful, which is when the first two come in handy. You have people that can help you calm down when your thoughts and feelings make you feel pain, or you can find some solace and comfort by working with your body when you feel a lot of emotional or mental pain coming through.
You've helped me, like earlier this year, you helped me kind of recognize that I really needed to focus on mind-body connection. That's in response specifically to the somatic work. I think that's so important. I'm personally getting into that now after spending like the last 13 years going to see doctors to see what was wrong with me. And it's just interesting that that stuff didn't come up. I think that's really helpful for a lot of people, especially in this country with the way things are. I feel like people don't realize they're in so much pain physically because of the underlying emotional trauma that they may not even be aware of. And I think it gets pushed off sometimes as like, okay, but in my experience, that is at the heart of how to start enjoying life, when you feel good in your body and connected to other living things.
100%. You go. Drop the mic. Love that. Yeah, no, people really underestimate the mind-body connection. It wasn't even something I was ever told. I was going through therapy. It probably took me 5 years before I started doing yoga. And that's when things really changed for me. Like up until that point, I had therapy, which was great. I was journaling, which helped. I started meditating around 19 years old. That really leveled it up. But then doing the body stuff is like when the deep level of healing really started happening, that it didn't care how much I talked it out. My body was not in a regulated state. There was energy, emotions, trauma, tension stored here that talking about it didn't heal on its own. It's great. You should still go to therapy and talk about things, but don't underestimate the power of the body.
Yeah, no, so well put. It's like the balance, body, mind, spirit. And our society a lot of times focuses on like mind.
Very mind-based.
The way the body looks, just for other people.
And appearance.
Okay. I just wanted to say, when I found out how you went about your double album last year. I was so impressed. And I think it's so inspirational to others that you were able to raise $30,000 in 30 days. 20,000, $60,000, $20,000 in 30 days to fund this album, to hire all these amazing people to do high quality work, everything from the videography to that production.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane.
What an accomplishment.
Thank you. I am so proud. I'm like still exhausted about it. It was a really hard and stressful and emotional 30-day period. It's not something I would necessarily recommend to the faint of heart at all. You really have to believe in yourself, believe in your mission, but also have a logical understanding of what you're capable of. And for me, that logical understanding was, okay, I have a little over 2,000 followers. And if everybody donated $10, I could do it easily. So for me, I was like, with that in mind, I could probably do it. Now, did every one of my 2,000 followers donate? No. A lot of people that I like expected to didn't, and that's fine. That's just, it is what it is. But the average donation was $170 around, which is crazy. I had some really high donors for this project that absolutely made it come to life. Without their contributions, it would not exist. Some really big donations are what crossed the line from 15K to 20. Those are the people that made the $5,000 difference.
It's so interesting how, whether it's related to money or other types of support, it's always interesting who shows up and who doesn't, and you never really know or understand. We're living in a world where money is hard to come by.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would struggle even to have the confidence to ask people.
I had a lot of good hype men with me that I shared this idea with, and that really encouraged me. And I was going to shoot for 15K originally. And then I had a friend of mine who was a really good cheerleader that was like, I really think that you can and should do 20 and just go for it. And I was like, you're crazy. Okay. I think I would have had a lot less headache if it was 15. And again, these are decisions that like every artist needs to make on their own. This is not necessarily the recommended alternative path for being an independent artist. It's not like you're either signed to a record label or you do a Kickstarter campaign. I don't want to do another Kickstarter campaign. I don't know about the future, but I'm still trying to fulfill all of the rewards. That's what they don't tell you when you do a Kickstarter campaign. You think like, here's all the money and now go have fun. I have 117 people to deliver all of those different things to. And that's the stage that I'm in now. And I had the awesome privilege of paying all of these people. That's what's really so cool about the Kickstarter campaign is that I created this like independent creator economy. Well, I didn't create it. My community created it. I facilitated it. Yeah. I got to connect these independent creators with all of these people that were supporting me. I didn't make any money off of that. Just to like clarify, I made $20,000, but I paid that to everybody else. It's not like I was like, and pocket 5 of that for me. It went straight back into the art. And honestly, a lot of people still even gave me deals. Making music is incredibly expensive. I made 18 30-second videos and 17 songs, and it should have costed way more than $20,000. So everyone worked together to bring this vision to life. And I feel so grateful and so lucky. That's a dream come true for an artist in so many ways, to be able to bring their vision to life exactly as they see it. No cut corners. Yeah. Just the vision perfectly executed. So I'm very proud.
Everyone really is on their own unique path. But I feel like every time an artist does something brave for themselves in their career, it just has a ripple effect impacting other people in
Yeah.
ways that you both recognize and will never understand.
Every artist has an impact, no matter how established they are or how many fans they have or how good they are, how far along they are in their career. I think if every artist walked around knowing that their voice mattered and that their art and story and perspective could inspire somebody, there would be so much more cool art in the world.
I agree. And there's still time. Maybe we're moving
And there's
towards
still
the
time.
I want to maybe ask you one more question. I just wonder if you can describe for the listener what it feels like from your perspective to have worked so hard for something that people tell you is impossible. And you've carved out a unique, successful path for yourself where you're self-employed, you're regularly empowering others, you're creating beautiful, soul-reaching music. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would believe that path doesn't exist. So how does it feel to have achieved that and to be in this space now?
It feels like I'm still convincing myself that it's real every day because there is still so much unlearning that I'm doing, being told that that path didn't exist. When I was in high school and trying to explain that I wanted to be an artist and like what I wanted to do, and to have my high school college counselor be like, okay, well, you can't really do that. So you can work in the music industry. Want to work at a record label? Do that. I really think we're living in this world that's programmed with this belief that artists need to struggle and it's hard to be an artist. And through living this path every day, I feel like I am trying to unlearn that conditioning that I was given. Even if I was trying to pursue a job at a record label, it's not like that is an abundant position.
Right.
No matter what I was doing, I feel like for years, everyone was just like, good luck with money, good luck making it. There's all this negative belief. And the character of my ex-girlfriend in my videos kind of embodies that.
I was curious about that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I mean, it's part ex-girlfriend, but part we really demonized her to be also embodying limiting beliefs that I'm like breaking through. And my friend did such a good job acting as that. Now she's my landlord. Fun fact. She was improving. There was no script. Not even an actress. Like she did such a great job. That was the hardest acting of the whole video was her role. And she nailed it. One of the last things she says is I'm driving away. She goes, good luck making it in LA. And that's the kind of energy that I was trying to embody in her character. I just really strongly believe that things don't have to be that way and that art is one of the most valuable things in the world. And artists play an incremental role in society. I just have this belief that they should be making money. It should be easy, regardless of what is externally represented. Spotify billionaires and people can't make money off streaming. I so wholeheartedly believe that there is a potential and a reality underneath all of the current infrastructures that exist where artists are living this abundant, creatively flowing lifestyle. And to some, that might be delusional, but I'm just so freaking committed in breaking down any limiting beliefs that say otherwise, regardless of what the belief is or what the project is. It's that age-old saying of when you put your mind to something, you can really do it. So I feel like I have just put my mind to this dream of creating freely and authentically and working for myself. It takes a lot. I'm not going to say that it's easy and it's the dream and I'm out here trying to teach everybody else how to do it. My particular path is not for everybody. The path of being an entrepreneur is not necessarily for every artist. But I do believe that there are beautiful possibilities of all kinds for artists out there that if they are determined and committed and supported by the right people that they can make happen. So to answer your question about how does it feel to be living a life that goes against those beliefs and things that we're told, I would say it feels like grit and determination. And I wish I could sit here and say that it feels beautiful. And at times it does, but also at times it just feels like resilience. It feels like not giving up on this dream, not just for me, but for artists everywhere.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love your vision. I believe that there is a world that exists like that too. I think if no one is believing these things, it's not going to happen. So it's important that you are, and empowering other people to shift their perspectives to be similar. Before we officially wrap, can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Absolutely. I am on all of the social medias at the Hannah Bowers. I am on all streaming platforms, though I would recommend listening to Radio and the Woods on YouTube visually. And I would also encourage purchasing the albums and or the merch like Lovely Cara is wearing right now on Bandcamp to support independent artists, support the mission. As I said, I'm an extrovert, so feel free to DM me. Also, everyone is welcome to join my creative community, PAL, P-A-L. We are on Instagram at the PAL community. If you're not on Instagram, you can go to the website and sign up for the newsletter at thepalcommunity.com. So come say hi, send me a message. Let's be friends. Let's be pals.
Yay. Thank you so much, Hannah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Cara. Great questions. Thank you for rocking the merch. Thank you for buying it, supporting the art.
I'm happy to. Thank you so much for your time today. This was so fun.
I loved it. It's really fun talking about all of this stuff. And honestly, it's motivating to have a conversation like this. And it's motivating to know that there's somebody out there that has like listened so intentionally to what I do and to care so much to have that curiosity to learn more about it. So thank you for caring so much because it keeps me doing what I'm doing.
I love this conversation with Hannah so much, and I've been sitting with so much of the wisdom that she shared over the last few days. Hannah is just one of those people that can really bring out the best in others simply by being herself. She's created such a wonderful space for so many people, so many artists to lean into their own authenticity and truth through her community PAL and in the work that she does guiding other artists. She has created a beautiful visual album that explores the journey of leaving home to face the great unknown. And she's created timeless songs that reach your heart. Please, please, please go watch her visual album on YouTube to get the full experience of it. And this isn't the end. I will be bringing Hannah back on the podcast for a part 2 where we take a deeper dive into her latest album, The Woods. If you have any feedback or questions that you'd love for me to ask Hannah in that next conversation, don't hesitate to reach out. You can support Hannah in so many ways, as she mentioned. Her music and socials are linked in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.